my understanding of the land value tax is that we are, if I think about myself as a homeowner, I'm accruing value in some way based on, I think what you would say is the value of the land, not necessarily the house, not necessarily, things that I've done to help accrue that value, but the land is going up in value, and the land value should be shared amongst everyone to provide better services, better roads, better schools, maybe less taxes, I think, as you would say. Do I have that right? Why don't you give me a little bit of a breakdown? Take a minute or two and sort of give me the crash course on what exactly you mean by land value tax.
Sure. So land value tax is a form of property tax that only taxes the unimproved value of land. It's a very old idea from the beginnings of capitalism. In The Wealth of Nation, Adam Smith went well out of his way to say that this is the best tax because landlords don't really earn their keep. They just hold property and then rent it out to others. And that was a big problem. That's the old feudalism, right? So the idea is that currently we're incentivized to treat land as a wealth creation asset that no one actually worked for. So we have a housing market that is shifting increasingly to investors who have more money to afford to buy and hold, which bids up prices to the place of being unaffordable for the next generation, and for people who actually need to live there. The reason is we have two markets for housing right now. We have the market for people's need to live. That's being competing with the market for people's want of wealth. And you have to distinguish that there's two actual kinds of wealth creation uh, affecting housing or in capitalism in general. There's profit you make by providing a service and innovating and being productive, which is good, and that's what makes capitalism work. And there's profit you make just by holding on to something and then renting it to others. In the case of natural resources like land and oil and gas and minerals, a lot of that profit is unearned because the land value is created by the community around you, not by the work of the landlord. So that creates some perverse incentives that are making prices too high. People are buying properties and not renting them out because they're waiting to find a higher buyer because the value of the property stays higher in some ways if it's not rented out. We have people who have more property than they need because the carrying cost is so low. Maybe they bought it 30 years ago when it was cheap. Meanwhile, we have a lot of families who need places to stay. We actually have more than enough bedrooms in any countries, but particularly in Canada, that would satisfy all the need that people's need to live. It's just the allocation is wrong, and part of that is because again, it's more profitable to just hold on to a property even if you don't need it and wait for prices to go up. So a land value tax is a form of property tax that taxes again the unimproved value of land, so that we are actually capturing publicly created wealth for public benefit, whether that benefit is paying for public services, whether it's paying a UBI, whether it's paying for affordable housing. But overall, since the very beginnings of capitalism, it was recognized that a land value tax is the best kind of tax because you're taxing something that cannot be changed in quantity. Like taxing it does not change how much land is created. It just optimizes how we use it and make better use of this largest asset in any economy. And that's a fundamental thing that an economic system is supposed to do, is optimize the use of resources. So again, currently we have a system that incentivizes people to buy and hold at the expense of future generations. So while, I mean, and I've done it too, I own real estate property and I read all the books on real estate investing. And I didn't realize at the time that this is actually not wealth creation, it's actually wealth collection. You're collecting wealth from future generations, not from the rent you charge from the property, because the offering the property is a service, like leasing a car, but rather from the part of the rent that comes from the value of land, which landlords do not work for. And so, we're advocating for a system where we're taxing close to the full rental value of land, which would bring the value of land to near zero, which would make housing very cheap, would align incentives. You'd have more construction, you'd have less speculation, you'd have better utilization, more conservation, more green space. You'd have a system and you could also eliminate other taxes. You could have, with the revenue from land value tax, no one's advocating for a tax grab. They're advocating for a tax shift, where you can reduce or eliminate income taxes altogether, or you could use this to pay people back a rebate of sorts, like the carbon rebate, in order to give a chance to future generations to own homes and have housing be affordable.